Your
Glad
first
to
time.
meet you.
See the little red box up in the corner? Lets you know that we're recording.
Oh,
This has your name on it.
I didn't even check in my mind.
All right.
Yes, now.
Okay, so we are,
What you meant, right?
all right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am Lucy Bisson, the chairperson of the Lewiston Planning Board, and I welcome everyone here and call the meeting to order. And Amy Smith, would you call the roll, please?
Roger Dupree.
Here.
Michael Marcotte.
Present.
Shanna Cox.
Here.
Lucy Bisson.
Here.
Jamal Mohammed.
Here.
And Amy Smith here.
Good. And for the record, for staff, there is John Connor, Director of Planning in the Planning Department, Shelley Norton, the City Planner, Craig Tebow, City Planner, and Linda Tripp, Administrative Assistant. Okay, so Shelley, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No,
Any correspondence?
no.
Okay, so there are no public hearings as well. So the first other business is Stony Brook Land Use, Inc., on behalf of EJ Enterprises, LLC, has submitted a development review approval extension request for the construction of a 15,840 square foot equipment sales facility at 1717 Lisbon Street. And Shelley?
Okay. So this project received, I have an error in my staff review. So this project received approval from the board on August 8th of 2022, not 24, since that hasn't happened yet. Just a correction. So they are asking for a 2-year extension on the approval, which you can grant. The staff review notates the ordinance requirements under that. They did include a letter that explained the reason for why they haven't been able to start construction and are looking for that extension of approval. They do have Mike Gatto here this evening to represent the application if you have any questions of him.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions for staff? All righty. Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. Gatto? Mr. Marcotte?
I'm just curious, what kind of facility were they looking to put in?
They were looking for an equipment sales, so it's a maintenance facility with drive-through bays. So we're marketing what it was approved for, is what we're marketing.
Was this the same enterprise that had the equipment up the road by
Yeah.
Prudential?
Yeah.
Whatever it's called today, the insurance company.
Liberty Mutual?
I'm thinking Thompson Machine.
No, it was.
It's
no.
not Thompson, okay.
It was just up the road a ways, across from Foss Road. They were looking to get their own facility.
Oh, okay, the one right there at
Yeah,
Foss.
and then they decided that they couldn't, not on a Foss Road across the street. They sell sanders and
Okay.
things like
Yeah,
that.
I
They were
think I've
looking
seen
for a
that.
new facility. We designed it specifically for them, and we ended up with a lot of extra cost.
Does this property wrap around the Old House Club?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? Yes.
I think my question's as much for staff as it is for the applicant. Feel free to let me know. So I appreciate that you've already sunk some costs partway through in a development, and the end-use tenant might shift or has shifted, and you're now marketing the property, right?
Right.
To what extent, if any, does he have to market it for the original use, or can he market it for all permitted uses, even if we accept this today, which broadens his opportunities?
Yeah, so changing the use would be a use permit, I guess. So long as the facility works for whatever the intended use is, it would be pretty straightforward. If they do have to redesign, then they would need to do an amendment, which could be done with staff depending upon the extent of it.
You could
but-
develop the pad with the associated water and sewer and not do drive-through bays, for example.
We could, but we'd have to come back with changes. If we were leaving the building, where it was in the same size and occupying with an office for say, or something like that, I'm sure we could do that through staff review some of the de minimis changes you have coming
Yeah.
at you tonight, okay? So I'm sure staff would let us do that. So we're marketing it as a pad-ready site. We've got the building plans and everything designed for the specific use. As long as we can stay with the use and the plans that we have, we should be able to, grab building permits and go. In the meantime, we are filling and grading. We've already impacted and graded off some of the wetland areas because we had permits to do that. So we're gonna continue to upgrade the site as best we can while it's being marketed.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
So you've already done work on the property itself?
We've done some, yeah. I wouldn't say that we meet the code for a substantial start, but we've done some work. We've done some grading up at the top of the hill.
Now, I had a question at one time about the,
Roger, you
daycare
pull
center.
your mic forward. Sorry.
About the daycare center that's on the, what was it, on the left-hand side of the property. Is there gonna be a barrier or something, or some sort of,
I don't recall the plan that well, and I'm sorry, I didn't go through it in detail today, but I don't believe we had a fence over there. I'm pretty certain we didn't, but,
The play area is on the opposing end of that parcel
and
than this side.
the play area is
no, it's on
fenced.
this side?
Yeah, it's on the same side, but
On the
it's
same side.
fenced
Fenced
in.
in,
It's a fenced-in area
Yeah.
for the play area. Yeah. My thinking is if it's an issue with the daycare, they can come back and complain, and we can do something at that point. I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
No, we had quite a bit of a buffer, and then there's a ditch that's going down through there. so
Right.
It's not gonna be easy to get from one place to the other, because it's a higher elevation that we designed that building at.
Good.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? All right, in that case, I'd entertain a motion. Does anybody
Is
want?
it a motion you want to make or a question you have?
It's actions necessary. Yeah, the motion's right here.
I make a motion pursuant to Article 13, Section 11 of the Zoning and Land Use Code to grant a 2-year extension of the August 8, 2022 Development Review approval to EJ Enterprises LLC for an equipment sales facility at 1717 Lisbon Street, tax map 96, lot 24, until August 8, 2026, to start construction and to have the development completed by June 22nd, 2031.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roger?
Did you say 31?
Yeah, it's 5 years. And any further discussion?
6 years.
Okay, in that case, I'll call the roll. Roger Dupree,
Yes.
Michael Marcotte,
Yes.
Shanna Cox,
Yes?
Amy Smith,
Yes.
Jama Mohammed,
Yes.
and Lucy Bisson, yes. Oh, I neglected to say we were making Jama a voting member this evening. Okay?
Sorry, just on math, super happy to have approved that, but it's 2024, and if we extend it to 2031, that's 6 years.
It's 26, and then they have 5 years to complete
Gotcha.
from that date.
Thank you.
Right.
So 2 years to start, and then 5
5 years to complete.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, next item, the planning board making a recommendation on the acquisition of a portion of 348 Lincoln Street, which is being donated to the city. Greg?
So this is a approximately 1.8 acre, mostly vacant lot, current assessed value just under 80,000. We had met with the new owner, Norm Boulay and Mike Otto, previously. They expressed their interest in clarifying the lot lines, and you can sort of see that reflected in the sort of in the aerial views with the GIS. There's a dashed line, and that's from surveys that were taken. There's some uncertainty with that about who owns it, even though it is shown as 348 Lincoln Street, the whole parcel. Just to make things simpler and cleaner, they want to clarify the lot line, and this will effectively result in transferring to the city an approximately 1.17 acre area in the southeast corner of the property, which abuts the city-owned Lower Androscoggin Powerhouse. We've spoken with Public Works. They're supportive of the proposed acquisition of property surrounding the powerhouse, as this dam and former hydro station are part of the canal system. City owns and maintains, and it will help them, it'll just basically make it easier for us to access that property and do work on it. Mr. Boulay is proposing to definitively transfer this area to the city, and in return, he is requesting that the city prepares the deeds for this exchange and covers all costs or required fees for the recording of all required documents. A survey of the property has been prepared, which the city can utilize in the preparation of these documents and should help to save some costs.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Does anybody on the board have any questions for staff? Michael?
When I reviewed this, I guess I had a little different perspective than what I just heard. So 348 Lincoln Street is pretty much an area, I don't know how many feet that would be, but I'm seeing a dotted line, and I'm seeing a shoreline to the canal, going all the way from Lincoln Street back to a point, probably about halfway between Lincoln Street and Canal Street or Lisbon Street.
Isn't that the old railroad line?
Yeah, to the old railroad line, correct.
Okay.
And there's either a bridge or used to be a bridge there. When I saw it over the weekend, I thought maybe he was parlaying the entire 348, but now I heard 0.17 got my attention. So it's only a little tiny piece of the 348.
That's right.
So the city approached him probably? No?
No?
And why would he volunteer to give up 0.17?
Well, I can't speak for the applicant. Mike, if you'd like to.
Mr. Gatto, could you speak to why he is being so generous?
If the uncertainty led me to
'Cause
struggle to
my original
develop.
thought was he was given the entire 1.8, and maybe it was about, it's not a very usable lot, and not to have to pay taxes anymore. He's just, like some people have done. We've seen those in the past.
No, that's not the case here. The case here is that our deed actually describes us owning the building, around the building, that we own the building that goes with the dam and the canal. We don't want that responsibility. And it's a lot more valuable to you. And then the other thing is our deed's describing that, but there's some miscellaneous rights in that area. So what we're trying to do, based on the survey plan we have, is have all of the miscellaneous rights and stuff go all to the city, and we keep a clean lot, which we will be here for zoning change probably, and I think a contract zone, or ordinance change or something, and we will be developing that remaining land.
No, okay.
So I'm just wondering about the history of the lot, because it seems like it's a thin, well, if I'm looking at it correctly, this is just the area between the dotted line and the,
That we're giving up, that's correct.
okay, that's 0.17?
That's .17.
Oh, I thought it was even
The
smaller
rest,
than that.
the entire yellow line, all the way to the paved parking lot, is the 1.8.
Oh, I was thinking it was well more than 1.8.
No.
So, okay, no,
So again, we're just trying to get that land near the shoreline so that you guys can control
that
that.
makes sense. I thought maybe
Yep.
what, Mr. Boulay, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Boulay now, yes.
Now, what I thought he owned and what he was giving up was just that little sliver along the
No.
canal.
No,
That's what didn't make sense to me.
No, we're gonna keep 1 point, whatever it is. I don't see a number right here, 1.7. Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna keep 1.7 for
1.7
development.
and 0.17 is what's being transferred. And I saw some excavating or something when I drove by this weekend.
Yeah, it's been used for an encampment, and there was a lot of excavation necessary to clean the debris that you wouldn't want anybody to step on or be involved with. So,
It may be further up, and it may be on the other side of the railroad tracks, but I believe that there was some brownfields in that area.
the brownfield was, actually, we decided, was it on the site?
Not that side.
Yeah, we cleared it,
That's
yeah.
paved to the left.
Closer.
What's paved
Closer to the, remind me of the mill's name, Hill Mill, is it?
No, that's the Androscoggin up.
That's the Androscoggin Mill,
Androscoggin.
but right,
It's the
really,
Androscoggin Mill.
the whole area, it was Northern Utilities had it's now Unitil. It was a brownfield site. They used to manufacture coal gas.
Yeah.
On the site. There was a lot of coal tar that landed, and it was migrating to the river. So they excavated a bunch. They've got an entrenchment right along the river there where you sort of see the blue line. There's actually a catchment trench, and they pump it on occasion. It moves very slowly, but that was sort of a big brownfield site that was cleaned
I
up.
remember it was a big deal years ago from a finance committee perspective.
Yeah.
And
no.
there was also Avon Mill, which has been torn down.
Which
a
has
long
been
time
torn
ago.
down, which was sort of abutting that. So it's, all that is more the brownfield site. The I think state of Maine bought a portion of the old Avon Mill site just to round off that corner. Can't remember who owns. I don't know if it's still privately held or if it's now owned by Unitil. I just can't recall.
You mean the parcel that Avon was on?
That used to be Avon,
Yeah.
right. It was the Roy family who sold it. And I
Because
just-
it looked like a big building till it came down, and then the parcel doesn't look that big.
Exactly. And it was full of tires as well. It was that was another brownfield site.
Okay. Okay, any,
Big ground.
yeah, right. Anybody else have any other questions for staff? Okay, and in that case, I would entertain a motion.
I'm happy to make a motion
Thank you.
pursuant to Article 7, Section 4H of the Zoning and Land Use Code to send a favorable recommendation to the City Council for the acquisition of a portion of 348 Lincoln Street by means of a boundary line agreement with gratitude.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roger. And any further questions from the board? Okay, Roger Dupree?
Yes.
Michael Marcotte?
Yes.
Shanna Cox?
Yep.
Amy Smith?
Yes.
Gemma Mohammed?
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. All right. Okay, Mr.
How many of
Gatto.
these items today are you donating to us, sir?
Yes,
You sticking around for the whole agenda?
okay. Okay, so next is the planning board's making a recommendation on the disposition of a portion of 49 Beech Street. Shelley?
Okay, I'm gonna get the map up for you.
Yep,
Because
please.
I think that's gonna be helpful in this discussion. All right,
We've discussed this property before, when the old, the other mill, not when they were going to, they came before us for housing. This, I think, is before your time. It's
okay.
been a few years.
Okay.
Not, well, I mean, there was discussion about, how they were gonna, the cars were gonna travel around the mills and get to the museum, and I'm not saying that there was discussions about selling it, I'm just saying there was discussions about this property has been,
Yes.
discussed in different
Yeah.
ways before.
So it may be that this building, the white building that Tom Platts owns, you may have had conversations about that. I think
Yeah.
there was a prior developer that owned it that
Yep.
may have talked to you about that. So the parcel itself wraps around from Beech Street along the canal and out to the river. And this first plan shows you the powerhouse building that we're talking about and the new ramp that the city constructed. The purpose for the ramp is to gain access to the canal for maintenance primarily, although it might be used for recreational purposes in the future at some point for gaining access to the canal. And then this map just shows you the full extent of that parcel. So we're talking about a 40-foot wide parcel off of Beech Street that wraps around the 35 Beech Street, and then the one Beech Street. Main Mill came in a few months back for an extension. They had applied to come to you for development review and then wasn't quite ready. So you moved that forward, and you'll be seeing them at the next meeting, we anticipate, for their development review. So the purpose of what we're here for tonight is to discuss a portion of this 49 Beech Street being sold. And this last map that I want to pull up outlines more clearly what that entails. So most of you have been involved in the Riverfront Island Master Plan. Actually, for the sake of those of you that weren't involved, I'll just back up. The city has worked on a Riverfront Island Master Plan that was updated a year and a half ago now. And that plan shows, this is the powerhouse we were just looking at, shows the riverfront trail going along Simard Payne Park, which it does right now, and then continuing in front of the main mill property, which it doesn't at this time. Right now, it would stop, you know, in this point where it connects over to the bridge to Auburn. So the intent is to connect that across the main mill property and then to build a bridge, which the city is currently working on the designs for, that would take it over around the Continental Mill site. So there is this missing link here that we would need an easement from the main mill for. There's a possibility that there would be a secondary access along this property here that we're talking about tonight. So I just want to point that out. There are recreational implications, which is part of why what we're coming for you to look at tonight is actually a whole group of easement and agreements that have been put together. So to go through them briefly, the yellow would be an easement for the riverfront trail, which is 18 feet wide, and the exact location will be determined in the future. The reason being, we don't have a survey yet, so we don't know what's going to be the appropriate location as far as the steepness of the slope and where that makes sense. Then the design for the main mill site requires stormwater easements to the canal, and that's what this blue easement is here, would be an easement over this land. The green area is land that Main Mill would like to purchase from the city so that they can design their building extension and building and have the proper setbacks that they need, as well as have their trash where they'd like to have it. So they're asking for a small portion of land that they would be acquiring from the city. And then this is that second building, 35 Beech Street, that Tom Platts owns. So, you know, the city land continues and wraps around it this way. So it's just a portion of it we're talking about here, where the area in purple would be purchased and pink would be purchased by the owner of 35 Beech Street. They would merge it with their parcel. So there's this overlap here where they can do that. And then the city would retain this land in white where the boat ramp is, and then continues all along the canal. So we would retain most of the land along the canal, but not this land here and the powerhouse. So that's what the sale would be. There are easements that are also noted here because of the tightness of this area. When they would access the powerhouse, let's say they developed it and had a reason for there to be parking here, if they were coming through their parking lot, they had a concern that making a turn might be a little tight in here, or for the city access here, it might be a little tight. So they were asking for an easement on city land here for access and providing one to us for access here, just to make this smoother, recognizing that it's about 30 feet wide, so the city would have about 15 feet and they would have about 15 feet. Okay, so moving on to, is that clear? Because we can back up and.
Really clear.
Oh, okay.
Nice colors.
That's good, okay.
Mike?
I like the colors, but not grasping, sir. So which parcels are being disposed of by the city?
Yeah, so the pink, the green, and the purple. The reason they're different color coded is the green would be conveyed to the museum and merged with their lot, and then 35 Beech would retain the purple and the pink.
And the pink.
But the purple would have an easement over it for the, wait, which is it?
The
Sorry.
pink has an easement for Main Mills water, and the purple
Yes.
has an easement for access to everybody. Really great
And
job.
actually, the purple has an easement for the city.
For the
Yep.
city. And
Yep.
the pink would have an easement from 35 Beech to 1 Beech.
Just on the blue there, not the whole pink area.
Oh,
Yep.
just that blue
Yep.
section.
That's-
Yep.
and it's
And
just
it would
water.
have the yellow
For the water line.
easement for the riverfront trail. Yeah. I know it's
We're
A
talking,
really workable solution for 3 parties with advantages to
it's a
everybody, and
little
that's impressive in this
complicated,
day
but
and
it's
age.
actually
It
a
is.
very, we think it's a very good
Yep.
agreement. Yeah, all 3 parties are satisfied, in economic development,
And it's not
engineering,
for
and
free.
admin.
And it's what?
Not for free.
Not for free.
Nope.
So, yeah, we'll get to that, we can get to that part next. So, the purchase agreement is for $100,000, which includes that powerhouse building. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to be in the powerhouse building. It is a really neat building. It's got these really tall, generating wheels in it, but it also will require a lot of work for somebody to actually use it. So the proposal here would be that 35 Beech Street is most likely going to partner with the museum and have it be part of the museum space. If people have more questions, I can totally get into this in more detail. I don't want to go down that road if I don't need to, and Lincoln is here to answer questions as well. He's been involved in the negotiations, so.
Okay. Anybody else, anybody have, Michael?
I had a different sort of question. I wasn't sure if you had more, and it would have been something tied into the more. But anybody take into consideration, when I saw the green event area, I got thinking, how often does the river come up and overflow at that point? and
You're
flood it?
looking at this area here, yeah.
Like the 10-year, the flood plan, the 100-year, 500-year, whatever. How often does that area get flooded?
I believe it does flood. Isn't that what Jeff had told us, that it did flood up quite a bit? Or maybe you weren't in that meeting. Yeah, I believe it does flood, which is part of the reason that they're looking at it as kind of an open green space. I think we'll be designing a riverfront trail that can be flooded.
So the trail itself will survive, whatever we invest in to create the trail. I'm thinking about, we don't want to have to be replacing the trail
Right.
often.
Yeah, I know, I was just in a conversation, so the amphitheater down here, and that's, I think, where I'm remembering this from, so I might be speaking incorrectly. The amphitheater did flood recently, in the last couple of weeks in rains. So there was a discussion about making sure that, any improvements to that area, the playground that gets designed is in an area that floods. So making sure it's a playground that has a surface that isn't, things that are going to float away, that can be, maintained easily after a flood is important. I don't know actually what the grade change is or isn't with this area up here. It may be higher, and maybe that event space won't, but the event space will be Main Mill's responsibility. It'll just be the trail that we'd be looking at ensuring is going to be secure if it was to flood. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Just to add one footnote on that, the event lawn space is also a brownfield site, so there's stuff underneath it. So keep it covered.
No, not much digging down.
Not much digging, exactly.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments for staff? In that case, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion pursuant to Article 7, Section 4H of the Zoning and Land Use Code send a favorable recommendation to the city council for the disposition of a portion of 49 Beech Street by a letter of agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I was just curious, one last opportunity. I heard you say $100,000, that's what the city's gonna get?
Yes, yep.
That was from Bill Healy. The assessed value is only 44.5, I think, so it's market value. It's a good deal.
Yeah,
If you're in the
absolutely.
market for a powerhouse.
Yeah,
Great
there's
deal.
about another $1 million to be dropped into that.
Okay, so Roger Dupree,
Yes.
Michael Marcotte.
Yes.
Shanna Cox.
Yes.
Amy Smith.
Yes.
Jamal Mohammed.
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. All right, let's sell some land.
Thank you.
Okay. Last item of other business. 50 Alfred A. Plourde Parkway, Lot 19 of the South Park Subdivision. Subdivision amendment to adjust lot lines so that the access drive for Lot 17 is located on Lot 19, would be located on Lot 17 instead.
We skipped those.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'll-
I don't know that it matters if it's out of order, but we'll want to do 1 and 2 too.
Okay, well, let's let's go back. Okay, so report on recent de minimis changes to prior approved site plans and subdivision. 12 Razel Way, changes to the storage building layout and parking lot. We do not have to do anything to this, correct?
That's right. Yeah, so this section, D, that I've added here is really, the staff
Compliance.
was reviewing the ordinance and realized that we were supposed to be reporting out any changes to plans that the board had approved. So we've added this section. You'll start seeing things here, and this is really just a quick way of just letting you know that something changed to a plan. So the first one, 12 Razel Way, you'll remember is storage units. And there were a number of buildings out there, and so they did make changes to one portion of the property to a parking lot and building area. And then 21 Fireslate Place, they did a minor change a couple of years ago on a lot line. The surveyor was in the field, noticed a couple of pins he didn't see last time. They lined up better with a deed, and so a line got drawn differently based on that. So that's a very minor change. And then with 50 Alfred Plourde Parkway, 2 lots in the subdivision. One of the lots had the driveway for the back lot, and they want that driveway to go with the back lot. So they just moved a lot line so that the driveway would go with that back lot. So those are the changes we just wanted to make you aware of, and that's really it.
Michael?
I was curious, 50 Alfred Plourde Parkway, where is that?
It's Gendron and Gendron,
Yeah,
where it's the road that goes
The batch plant.
to the where they're digging the aggregate, and it's got the scale.
Oh, okay, where the scale is.
Where the scale is.
Where KTI is or was,
yeah.
probably was.
No.
As somebody who's only lived here since 2005, I love these exchanges.
On the other side?
KTI
Where the
is
scale is,
where the scale
where the field was in 2011,
In 1995, you know?
Okay, but same side of the road.
in the 80s.
same side of Elford.
Yeah, same side as Alfred Plourde.
Right.
When you said the other side, I thought you meant the side where, the side that the National Guard Army was on. Not the
No,
opposite
no,
side.
no, no, no.
Okay.
It's across the street.
And-
This borders, I mean, it isn't affected by, but it borders where the Bates College has a racquetball court thing.
I'm not familiar
Is
with
it
that.
And there's also,
It's charades and a history
there's
lesson in here,
also
I'm loving it.
a building that's the Gendron Business Office, right? So that's the property that has this driveway on it, and they want the driveway to be standalone
It's not
with
far from the
the
scales,
rear.
and it goes behind where the pit is.
Yeah, it is the scales.
Scales go to the pit.
The scales go to the pit.
Trying to make those go with the back land.
And I was just curious on Razel Way, because the one thing I remember was, we still don't have any trees along Razel Way.
That's because
Gotta
the
remember
board
that.
approved
Oh,
it
that's-
without
Approved the
street
waiver.
trees. You approved the
Yeah,
waiver.
yeah, there's not much point in putting
I
the
think
trees
if
in
you
the
look back,
sand.
you won't find it unanimous. Next item.
Okay, so the next item is reading of the minutes. Motion to adopt the June 10th, 2024 draft minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Roger Dupree,
Yes.
Michael Marcotte.
Yes.
Shanna Cox.
Yes.
Amy Smith.
Yes.
And Jammer Mohammed.
Yes.
Lucy Bisson, yes. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Perfect.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yay. Oh, all right.
And I just want to announce that you have a joint workshop with City Council next Tuesday, the 16th at 5:30 PM here.
Are we gonna get materials for that, and will they come via porch like normal?
You might get an email that will be like one page.
I'd love
I
that.
don't think you're gonna get a packet, because
Okay.
it's not gonna be, there's not gonna be a lot of
It's not a
materials.
packet topic.
No, it's not a packet talk.
Great. Is there buckets? Is it a bucket one?
The planning board will actually be a part of an executive session as well at that time
Okay.
with city council.
So 5:30.
Yes.
Yeah, so 5:30, we'll start with an executive session on something unrelated to the workshop. They'll continue with a second executive session, and we'll have a few minutes out here waiting for them, and then the workshop will start. So 5:30, or you'll miss the thrill of the executive
I wanna miss the
session.
good stuff.
All right, 5:30. So,
Remind me, is that the 9th or the 16th?
16.
16.
yes.